Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stock Durbar with Team William in India. So it's been a tough ride since we last met last 15 days back. Uh, the Nifty has tested a fresh low recently. Okay, and so last week we were in a rally attempt status. Rally attempt means we are attempting to go for a rally, but we failed. I think if you look at the Monday candle, then Monday we made a new low of almost 816.23, 816. Hence, the status was changed to a downtrend again. But if you look at the Tuesday session, we traded about the low of Monday. On Wednesday's session, we again traded the low above Monday, and today also we traded about Monday's low. So today the market status has been shifted to a rally attempt. अभी फिर से हम एक बार rally attempt करने के मूड में है. So now what next? So now there are two scenarios. Okay. Firstly, if we breach the recent low, that is 816, 816, we will be again shifted to a downtrend. Okay. And that will be the third time we are going in downtrend if this happens. On the flip side, if we see that Nifty gains 1.5% or higher on a volume which is higher than previous session, 1.5% का अप मूव आना है निफ्टी में हायर वॉल्यूम पे प्रीवियस सेशन से. ठीक है, ये कंडीशन अगर सेटिस्फाई होती है देन इट विल बी अ फॉलो थ्रू एक्शन. जो ये बेस बनने का फॉलो थ्रू एक्शन जब हमको मिलेगा, एक कंफर्मेशन मिलेगा, तब हम रैली में शिफ्ट हो जाएंगे. बट टू हैव इट मोर कन्विंसिंग, वी वांट कि हम लोग 50 डीएमए के ऊपर जो कि 25,050 के आसपास है, वी वांट टू मूव अबाउट द 25,050 लेवल. ओके, फॉर बेटर कॉन्फिडेंस इन द मार्केट. That is one thing. Second thing, there was a big event awaited, which was the results of the US election. Okay, and it were out yesterday. Though there were many analysts who were expecting a very mixed set of result from the US market, that it will be very tight situation for the race to White House, but it was a clean majority to Trump without any complications like the last time, without much of an issues in the during the result. So there was a clear win for Trump, and due to that, I think U.S. market reacted really well. The key reason is Trump being in the favor of the rate cuts. Sorry, the tax cuts. He has done it, and the taxation policies is expected to be favorable for the businesses. There might be a lot of free hand to the business in the US. And that's why the sectors like IT, energy, renewables, pharma, along with the small caps. So there was a huge rally in the small caps in the US. So the businesses are very happy with Trump back to White House. Okay. And one thing also happened कि 10 ईयर का जो यील्ड है, आपने देखा होगा न्यूज में यहाँ वहां पे, कि एक्सपोनेंशियली बढ़ गया. ठीक है. Gold में थोड़ा बिकवाली आया. There was some selling in the gold and the silver, the metals. So the reason being, if the Trump is in White House, which he will be, and he cuts the taxes, so a lot of more money will be in the hand of people. He will be having the budget which is a bit friendly to economy. So उसकी वजह से इन्फ्लेशन जो एक डाउन टेरिटरी में जाने का ट्राई कर रहा था, वहां पे एक फिर से होल्ड कर जाएगा. आई थिंक जब भी इकोनॉमी बूमिंग होती है, पैसा लोगों के हाथ में होता है, तो इन्फ्लेशन थोड़ा ऊपर की साइड रहने का एक्सपेक्टेशन है. सो द फ्यूचर रेट कट्स इन द यूएस, दैट इज व्हाट गेटिंग प्राइस्ड इन द 10 years बॉन्ड यील्ड, के शायद जो इंटेंसिटी से अगर हैरिस आती और फेड रेट कट करता, वो इंटेंसिटी से ट्रम्प के आने के बाद ना हो. आज एक डिसीजन है. मोस्ट ऑफ द एनालिस्ट आर इन फेवर ऑफ 25 बिप्स ऑफ रेट कट. अगर आज रेट कट नहीं हुआ तो देर माइट बी सम negative reaction in the global market as well. So for today's session, I think there are expectations of 25 bips of rate cut, and which should go through well. Okay. इंडिया में देखें तो रिजल्ट सीजन इज नॉट एज वेल एज यू माइट एक्सपेक्ट। थोड़ा वीक सीजन है ये रिजल्ट का। ईपीएस ग्रोथ निफ्टी 50 का देखो या फिर मिड कैप 100 स्मॉल कैप 100 का देखो, उतना अच्छा आया नहीं है। तो देर आर मैनी कंपनीज विच आर येट टू रिपोर्ट, बट एक मेजर चंक 60-70% ऑफ चंक हैज ऑलरेडी रिपोर्टेड द नंबर्स। एंड देर आर मैनी रिजल्ट्स which have outperformed, which have done really well, but there are more than 50% of result which have not done well. And that is what the reaction, the EPSs are getting adjusted, the earnings, the future earnings are getting adjusted. So ये क्वार्टर का जो एक्सपेक्टेशन था उससे ओवरऑल मार्केट का ईपीएस ग्रोथ काफी रिलेटिवली कम है। दैट इज व्हाई दैट इज आल्सो हर्टिंग द सेंटिमेंट इन द market. But there are few sectors which have done really well. So let's see now sector wise. If you look, let's start with Nifty IT. Had a great day yesterday. Okay, because IT sector will be benefiting from Trump in the White House. Okay, the policies will be easy. There might not be much restrictions over there. अगर टैक्सेशन में कट आया तो जो उनका एक्सपेंस, जो बजट है उनका टेक्नोलॉजी का, सारी कंपनीज का, वो बढ़ेगा और इंडियन कंपनीज को उससे डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट होगा। बट टुडे देर वॉज सम नेगेटिव मोमेंट। आज का कैंडल यहाँ पे नहीं है, बट वॉट यू वॉन्ट टू वॉच ओवर हियर, यू कैन नोट डाउन दैट फॉर आईटी सेक्टर 42,200 level is very important. 200 300 we want to trade above that level which is 50 DMA। और जो रिसेंट यहाँ पे एक साइडवेज मोमेंटम आया था 42,500, सो 42 to 500, ये 500 पॉइंट का जोन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है आईटी सेक्टर के लिए। उसके ऊपर निकलने पे वी माइट सी सम वेरी गुड मोमेंटम, एटलीस्ट 500-700 पॉइंट का एक मोमेंटम देखने को मिल सकता है। So that was about the Nifty IT. Now, if you look at the bank, the results have been mixed over here. Okay. Broadly, the banking stocks are holding with some good results. But if you see over here, it is trading above all the key moving averages, Nifty Bank. And for Nifty Bank to move further, I think जो 52,500 है उसके ऊपर एक बार 500 या 600 के ऊपर क्लोजिंग दे देता है एक बार बैंक निफ्टी, then there can be very good momentum over here. So levels are very clear. अगर आप if you see the candle over here, अक्टूबर 1 के बाद जो गैप डाउन ओपनिंग मिला था अक्टूबर 3 को हमको, ठीक है, उसका हाई था 52,582। ठीक है, फिर अभी रिसेंटली एक हाई बना 52,577 विच इज ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर टू दैट। एंड व्हेन देयर वाज अ गुड मोमेंटम ऑन October 29th, it was 52,320. So broadly 52,600 is the level if you want to note। 52,600 के ऊपर एक बार बैंक निफ्टी ने क्लोजिंग दे दिया, then we might see some good 3 to 4% momentum in bank nifty as well। So IT is very close to 50 DMA। Okay, that level we already discussed। Now banks also very close to its breakout। ठीक है, 300-400 पॉइंट यहाँ से ऊपर एक बार बंद दे दिया तो ब्रेकआउट हो जाएगा। एंड दीज आर टू की सेक्टर्स एज फार एज द निफ्टी इज कंसर्न। तो यहाँ पे दोनों जगह पे ब्रेकआउट मिलने पे वी माइट सी सम गुड पॉजिटिव मोमेंटम इन निफ्टी। ऑन द फ्लिप साइड, अगर वहां पे रेजिस्टेंस मिल जाता है और एक रिवर्सल देता है आईटी और बैंक निफ्टी दोनों, तो हमको निफ्टी में फिर से वो जो 23,800 वाला लेवल या उसके नीचे का 200 डीएम तक का लेवल देखने को मिल सकता है। FMCG has not been able to perform well। मार्जिन पे थोड़ा प्रेशर बन रहा है। ठीक है, डिमांड भी जितना एक्सपेक्टेशन था कि FY 25 में जो डिमांड मिलनी चाहिए वो अभी मिली नहीं है। बट देर आर सम पॉजिटिव न्यूज कमिंग फॉर द FMCG सेक्टर एज वेल। जो मॉनसून सीजन है दैट वाज गुड। इन्फ्लेशन इज अ बिट अंडर कंट्रोल इन इंडिया। ओके, इट्स ट्रेडिंग इन द कंफर्टेबल रेंज। एंड ड्यू टू गुड मॉनसून, controlled inflation, the income of rural India has also been an uptick. And I think this festive season, plus the upcoming, the marriage season in India, these two are very important for FMCG as well as the consumption sector. And if that goes well, then we might see some good momentum from here। 200 DMA जनरली एक अच्छा सपोर्ट हो जाता है FMCG स्टॉक्स के लिए। multiple times 200 DMA पे देखो सपोर्ट लिया है, एंड नाउ वी आर वेरी क्लोज टू दैट लेवल. सो देर आर एक्सपेक्टेशंस कि एफएमसीजी में एक हमको रिवर्सल अपसाइड देखने को मिले, एंड दैट कैन हेल्प द ओवरऑल मार्केट एज वेल. So metals, they have been in momentum. Okay, some good results from the Tata Steel as well. And overall, the price realizations are improving. The domestic demand is robust. The infra demand is robust. Plus, the way the dollar index is moved higher, that will help the metal index as well. And overall, if you see, it tested its 200 DMA. यहाँ पे भी 200 DMA पे एक strong support है. तो recently, on October 25th, it tested its 200 DMA और वहां से एक रिवर्सल होके 50 और 21 को भी इसने रिक्लेम कर दिया है. So the expectations are that यहाँ से metal index can do well and outperform. But again, 200 DMA should be very important level. अगर यहाँ से रिवर्सल फिर से आता है नीचे की साइड, तो पहले 200 DMA देखना बहुत क्रूशियल हो जाता है. If you look at the auto index, then after long outperformance over last 1.5 year, since making high in September, the auto index is under pressure from high of around 27,700. It is now down to almost 24,000. ठीक है, और इसने भी 200 डीएमए पे सपोर्ट लिया है. सो 200 डीएमए का सपोर्ट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है. आइडियली दिस इंडेक्स यूज टू ट्रेड एट 50 डीएमए. 50 डीएमए पे ही इसको अच्छा एक सपोर्ट मिल जाता था, बट इस बार उसने 50 डीएमए ब्रीच कर दिया, एंड देन इट वेंट almost 3 to 4% lower to test its 200 DMA. Now it has found support at 200 DMA, and this level is important to watch for Nifty Auto. The results have been mixed. The sales number has been mixed. The festive season sales has been good, but not the best as expected. The inventory levels at the dealers end is also quite higher. So now we have discussed, I think, most of the sectorial front. And if something comes up to discuss some group sector, we will discuss during the session. So now let's open the floor. It's already 6:45. So let's, oh, sorry, 4:45. So let's open the floor for the questions. And along with me, my colleague Wakar and Rajshekhar, we three will try to answer as many queries as possible. Okay, and please do not keep repeating your queries, because as this is a live session, to scroll back becomes difficult, but we will try to answer most of the queries according to what the time permits.
Hi, Rishit. Vakari. I'll take some queries from you.
Sure.
Just give me a second. The queries are loading. So we'll start with the first query, Entero, then Hindustan Copper. Yeah, thank you. So, very good setup as one can see. I mean, good accumulation in the last few days. RS line hitting a new high, RS line moving higher. Looking well in terms of funds accumulating the stock as well. And even last couple of three-quarter results have been very good for the stock. Healthcare, I mean, in the last few years has been post-pandemic, has been uh, at the uh, what should we say, at a very center of things, and very it has gained a lot of importance among the people's life as well, and good healthcare and healthcare system, and this is one of the players where which is contributing to the entire ecosystem. So the one thing that is left at this moment is the current result, and two, markets are still shaky at this moment. What we probably suggest is the stock is still in the ideal buy zone. I mean, good breakout is there. Everything, looks good for the stock at this moment. But if your research suggests, and or if your advisor suggests to go ahead with the stock, I mean, from us, and definitely keep in the watch list. But to buy or not to buy will definitely be your decision. Next, we can look at it is Hindustan Copper. You. So metal stocks have been under pressure, and similarly, you can see with Hindustan Copper as well. I mean, realizations have been little bit muted. There has been China-related pressures as well, and that is why you can see the stock. I mean, the RS line for the stock is moving down. The stock is trading well below all its key moving averages. But people are expecting some kind of bottoming out in terms of the results for, I mean, the metal sector, especially in the non-ferrous segment, and that is why I can see last quarter result being good. The only thing is that the EPS is due in 4 days, so we should wait and see how the results are, what the management is saying about the future outlook. And probably once we have a little clarity on that, and probably there is some technical improvement, maybe after that, one can have a look at this stock. The next we can look at it is, just give me a second, Federal Bank, then GMR Airport. Okay. Again, so I mean, since a result season is going on, I mean, either most companies have, come up with the results as banks. Most banks have already come up with the results. Certain are still left to be. But if you look at the last quarter result of the bank, I mean, private banks' results have kind of been muted, but Federal Bank has kind of posted a slightly better results than other private sector banks. But the only issue with the current setup is that the stock is forming a stage 4 base, good accumulation on right side of the base, but as you can see, the stock is a late stage base. So uh, new entry into the stock is definitely not advised. Someone who's holding the stock from a previous breakout, maybe around 160, 170, 165, 170 levels, should be sitting on decent amount of profits. But if this, I mean, since the markets have been a little jittery, and even overall results in terms of the banking sector as well have been slowing down. There has been contractions on the bottom line as well, and even there if you look at the asset quality, earlier in the last couple of years, you could see asset quality improving a lot. Now, asset quality is kind of being established, or there is some deterioration for asset quality in certain banks as well. So there is some signs of caution. So going forward, if 21 DMA or 50 DMA gets breached, definitely should look at profit booking in the stock. And as I said earlier, new entry into the stock is not advised because of a late stage phase. Next, we can look at is GMR Infra. Thank you. So the last 4 quarter results have not been good, and that is why you can see the EPS strength of one. So at O'Neill, we look at both fundamental and technical strength. Since both fundamental and technical strength are not there with the stock, as you can see, price strength at 33, EPS of strength of one. Definitely, in terms of technical and fundamental, it's not qualifying at all. Someone who's bought the stock should have exited maybe at the 50 DMA breach, or even at the 100 DMA breach. Currently, the stock is trading well below the 200 DMA at this moment, and a new entry into the stock is definitely not advised. I mean, a lot of improvements needs to happen with the stock in terms of technicals and fundamental. So, I mean, it's a clear cut avoid from us. I mean, the stock needs to, I mean, a lot of improvement needs to happen on both the end. So at this moment, other better looking stocks are there uh, in this cautious environment. So maybe it's the right time to probably choose stocks where technicals and fundamental are both top notch, and because any shock or any macro deterioration or any macro shock across the globe can probably create jolts for uh, most mid and small cap stocks at this moment. So it's better to stay with the best types.
Raj, are you taking prepares?
Raj is not there. Rushit, you need to take over.
Okay, I will take you. So there is Dixon BSC queries. I think this is one of the top multi-bagger since years. It has been doing well. It was just a COVID time when there where we saw some dip over here, but I think after that it has been constantly moving higher. Not only Dixon, but the other EMS players also in India. Okay, like Kayans, Amber, they are also doing really well. So a lot of this Make in India PLI push is helping this sector. So you might be listening to news here and there that पहले हम इतने मोबाइल फोन्स बनाते थे अब इतने करोड़ मोबाइल फोन्स एवरी ईयर बनाते हैं so the televisions that they TV they are making the routers so they have a huge range of products so जो भी चाइना से जो हम एक्सपोर्ट करते थे उसका सब्स्टिट्यूट हमको इंडिया में चाहिए EMS में वो सब डिक्सन देता है एंड दैट इज द रीजन फॉर इट्स कंटिन्यूस रन अप and a clear disclaimer that this stock is part of our model portfolio and we are holding it since August 23rd and sitting at a gain of around 18 to 20%. On a long term, this is a really good story. If you look at the ROE of 22, that is excellent. The fund holding is really good on the higher base. If you see, okay, the recent quarter, the results have been excellent. Even in this quarter, margin अभी उन लोगों का 4% का हो गया, which is really good. If they can maintain that margin with the revenue growth that they are doing, I think then they will be able to trade higher at this heavy valuations. Okay, so it's a pure growth stock. Technically, अपने ideal buy zone से थोड़ा extended है. So you need to wait for fresh entry. If you are holding, you can continue to hold. Yes, there is always an alternate entry at 50 DMA. अगर यहाँ पे कुछ छोटा मोटा करेक्शन आता है 8-10% का 50 DMA पे स्टॉक आता है और वहां से रिबाउंड करता है जैसे अभी रिसेंटली किया था then you can consider re-adding it to the portfolio. Okay, so next we can see Kayans, similar group. Okay, here also you can see there is a continuous run up over here. So after breakout from a stage one cup base in May, there was a good rally and it had formed the ascending base, which is rare. And I think after forming ascending base, then this zone is now a very good long-term support. By long-term, I mean like you can say for next 6 months, 12 months, whenever the huge correction comes in the market, I think this zone, whenever the ascending base is made, can be considered as a very good support zone. So broadly, you can say that 100 DMA over here can act as a good support if there is major correction. If no major correction, then I think 50 DMA is a very strong support for the stock. वहां पे एक बार आता है, then you can consider. Currently, if you see, the stock is trading very close to the ideal buy zone. And if your research is done on this and your advisor advises for this one, you can definitely consider this. It is a long-term story, electronic manufacturing story. The fund holdings are increasing. The results have been excellent. थोड़ा ROE में improvement होना बाकी है यहाँ पे. बाकी सारे ratings वगैरह इसके ठीक है तो वहाँ पे कोई भी issues नहीं आना चाहिए. So overall, it's a good story plus good fundamental plus technical setup. Okay, so next let's consider Subros. Okay, so today there was a really good momentum. It reclaimed its 50 DMA briefly in the morning, but was not able to hold the gains. So I think once it reclaims the 50 DMA, you might see a very good momentum in this stock, right? If you look at the fundamentals, they are quite well set up. The EPS growth over the last few quarters have been good. And even the sales growth has been decent. The number of fund holding is increasing. थोड़ा इसका RS rating weak है, but I think if it reclaims 50 DMA, यहाँ पे भी हमको एक improvement देखने को मिल सकता है. So for fresh entry, wait for it to reclaim 50 DMA or make a fresh base. If you are holding the stock, then I think 200 DMA can be used as a stop loss over here. एक बेस फॉर्मेशन छोटा सा यहाँ 200 DMA के नीचे दिख रहा है, जिस तरह से वॉल्यूम सेटअप है. So ideally you should wait for 200 DMA on the downside, and if it reclaims 50 DMA, we might see some good momentum in the stock. Next I can take is Torrent Power. So there is a good story around the power sector. The overall demand in India is increasing for the power sector. The way industrialization is happening in India, okay, the way the urban economy is thriving, the power supply going to the rural economy and the uses over there. I think the power demand is expected to remain robust over the next few quarters, or I can say next few years. And every year we see the peak demand is always increasing and the overall power consumption is increasing. Plus, torrent power, along with the traditional, the non-renewable ways of generating power, they are also into the renewable sources, and they are developing more and more over there. So that is the green power, or you can say the renewable power is the next gen power, and the presence of torrent power is strong over there as well. The last quarter results was very strong. The fund number of fund holding the stock has increased. थोड़ा अभी बाय जोन में आया था, रिसेंटली ब्रोक आउट फ्रॉम स्टेज 3 कंसोलिडेशन बेस. इतना ऊपर नहीं जा पाया, साइडवेज मोमेंट ही था, फिर इसने 50 और 100 ब्रीच कर दिया. आई थिंक लेट इट बी इन द बाय जोन अगेन. अगर ये फिर से 1900 के ऊपर एक बार निकलता है, 1910 टू बी प्रिसाइज, then this stock can be considered for the investment purpose.
Thanks, Rushit. I'll take some queries from you. Can you give me Samman Capital, then Infosys and HCL Tech? So the stock is lacking on all fronts at this moment. As you can see, EPS strength is very poor at 36, price strength at 17. I mean, stock trading, I mean, well below its key moving averages, which is not very ideal at this moment. Fund holding is kind of constant. So, I mean, so no major triggers for the stock at this moment. Fresh entry in terms of fresh entry is not clearly advised, since bottom picking in this juncture in this market can be very tricky. Someone who's holding the stock should have ideally exited when maybe 50 DMA or even the 200 DMA got breached. If still holding, can keep the recent low of 131 as your stop loss if found a couple of times support near those levels. So if it breaches that, can move out. Fresh entry definitely not advised, since the stock is lacking on many parameters at this moment. Maybe going forward, if fundamentals improve, the stock forms a new base and RS line starts moving higher, maybe at that moment can have a look at the stock. Next can be Infosys and HCL Tech. You. So results in terms of Infosys was, I mean, more or less in line or slightly below estimates for Infosys if you look at it. And that is why you can see the stock moving down. Recently, because of the US elections, the change in policies, probably even the US Fed rate cut that is expected today of 25 bips. I mean, that is probably leading to some kind of bottom formation for the bigger guys who have a lot of banking and financial exposure, and that too in the US market. So maybe that is the trigger for major IT companies at this moment. And even the recent run up for the last 3 quarters that we've seen with the stock maybe bottoming around, I mean, the stock around 100 levels, and from they're moving higher. It's because of the macros in the US stabilizing in terms of inflation stabilizing, rate cuts coming in, and plus the banking and financial sector in the US improving. So most of the bigger IT players, or even some of the mid-sized IT players, also have a lot of banking and financial exposure and a lot of US exposure as well. So US and Europe are the two economies, or the two places where major of the IT companies derive their revenues. And in terms of sectoral wise, the BFSI is a major contributor to major of these companies. BFSI healthcare becomes a major contributor. So I mean, last 3 quarters there has been some betterment, and overall in terms of uh, if we look at attrition is also not that high, which was there a few years back. So even that is stabilizing. Attrition is, for the bigger guys are stabilizing. Order book is there pretty much in place. It's just, I mean, the execution is slightly lagging because of the global players waiting for, maybe they were waiting for the presidential elections, or they were waiting for certain things to happen at their end. So orders are there. Maybe to book it is probably in this quarter or the next few quarters, we'll see a lot of bookings coming in. I mean, uh, the con calls and the management updates provide the same, and that is our take as well. So fund holding have been improving, but I mean, as you can see, the stock is well below pivot. So new entry or fresh entry is definitely not advised. Let the uh, pivot get reclaimed. Maybe if that moment the RS improves and the RS line moves higher, maybe at that moment can have a look. There are certain stocks within the IT space that are probably doing much better. I mean, we'll discuss a couple of them as well. So HCL Tech would be next. Yep, that is what I was speaking about. So HCL Tech is probably doing a little bit well. I mean, last 2 quarter uh, results slightly in line or better than estimates, and that is why you can see stock moving higher, fund holding even at high levels still improving, which is a good sign. ROE at 23%, but the stock is slightly extended from base around 10%. So fresh entry is definitely not advised. Someone who's holding the stock can definitely hold the stock. If risk appetite is there, then it can definitely keep 200 DMA as the stop loss level, because HCL Tech have been a good outperformer in terms of the larger IT stocks, and if that persists, can definitely, I mean, see good movement going forward. New entries definitely not advised. Maybe there was a chance a couple of days back, but not now, when 50 DMA got reclaimed on good volumes. But overall, good prospects. I mean, we'll discuss a couple of mid-size IT stock as well. I mean, let's finish off the sector. So persistent system is where good movement is happening. The stock has just been a one-side outperformer within the sector, and as you can see, still the fund holding is improving. If you look at last 4 5 quarter results for the stock, has just been very good. EPS strength of 91, price strength of 78. But the only thing is that the stock is extended from pivot, 28% extended from pivot. So if someone is holding the stock, can definitely hold, but fresh entry is definitely not advised. I mean, even if you look at all the run up that's been happening with the stock, the recent market downfall, the stock still found support at the 50 DMA, and that is the beauty of the stock. The stock didn't move pretty much lower, and this is one of the stock which has consistently provided good QOQ USD revenue growth, where even the industry was lagging, and that is why when probably the industry starts coming back again, the stock can be a good outperformer going forward. But still, fresh entry at this price is definitely not advised.
Thanks, Akar. There is again one question related to the US election. There with Trump now elected as the president, what about the correction in the Indian market? So see, we need to differentiate both the things. Okay. Firstly, the correction in the Indian market is not only due to the geopolitical pressure or the US election, but the earnings. The earnings growth has been flat for this time or not good. If you can look at the earnings of the Nifty 50 or the top 500 stocks in India, that has not been the robust. The momentum जो अभी पिछले कुछ क्वार्टर से था अर्निंग में वो एक ब्रीच हो गया है एंड ऑलरेडी वी आर एट अ बिट ऑफ हायर वैल्यूएशन इन टर्म्स ऑफ द ओवरऑल मार्केट सो वहां से थोड़ा प्रेशर बिल्टअप हुआ नाउ स्पेसिफिकली टॉकिंग अबाउट द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ द Trump as a president. So one thing can be he can ease the geopolitical pressure because he can negotiate with Russia. There is a lot of news reports with his good terms with the Russian government. He can also stop the aid to Ukraine. Okay, he can also control the Iran-Israel situation maybe as he is committed to go for the peace. I think in yesterday also when he won, he gave a speech and he was telling that my last term in the 4 years there was zero war, no war pressure was there, and he is expecting to do it the same this time also. So if the geopolitical pressure eases, I think that will benefit the entire global market, and India also being an important part of the global market, it becomes important. Plus the overhang of the higher crude oil prices, क्योंकि अगर मिडल ईस्ट में प्रेशर बढ़ेगा तो एक क्रूड ऑयल प्राइसेस बढ़ेगा एंड दैट विल हर्ट इंडियन इकोनॉमी, तो वहां से भी एक कम हो सकता है. सो दैट इज वन थिंग. द सेकेंड थिंग इज एफआईआई को थोड़ा यूएस मार्केट ज्यादा अट्रैक्टिव लगेगा क्योंकि वहां पे कुछ टैक्सेशन कट्स हो सकते हैं, वहां की इकोनॉमी एक्सपैंड हो सकती है. ओके. सो ब्रॉडली देखो तो वहां पे फिस्कल एक्सपांशन हो जाएगा यूएस में, तो उसकी वजह से वहां पे भी एक उसकी इकोनॉमी रोबस्ट रहेगी, वहां पे रिटर्न्स अच्छे रहेंगे. प्लस द पॉलिसी ऑफ फिस्कल एक्सपांशन की वजह से उनके बॉन्ड यील्ड्स भी थोड़े हाई रहेंगे, तो सेफ मनी भी वहीं पे रहेगा. राइट. सो ओवरऑल एक फ्लो या फिर एक चंक ऑफ मनी विल रिमेन इन यूएस रादर देन मूविंग आउट. बट ब्रॉडली अगर हम देखें तो पिछले 1 डेढ़ महीने में ऑलरेडी एफआईएस का बहुत आउटफ्लो आ चुका है, एंड द रिटर्न द इकोनॉमी ग्रोथ, वी आर स्टिल द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी, we will continue to be over the next few years. Okay, so all the funds, the FIs will definitely pour back the money again at a comfortable valuation, and we might see some resume in the rally again. But in short term, I think just the election result and the correction in India is not the perfect way to relate, and that doesn't means the correction will be more or correction will end. But I think the better thing is look at the technicals. What I discussed at the start, we have seen a base for a low near 23,800. अभी अगर 23,800 breach नहीं होता for next few days and we see that एक डेढ़ दो 1.5% से ज्यादा की रैली निफ्टी पे मिल गई हमको एक दिन on a higher volume, then we might see some momentum back into the market. और आज भी देखो वैसे ओवरऑल मार्केट पे प्रेशर था, बट इन इंडियन मार्केट द मिड कैप स्मॉल कैप were not under that much of pressure, so the things are getting settled as of now. But let's see if we go for a fresh selling round or we move higher. So this is the time where you need to be cautious, you need to have your watch list ready. I think if tomorrow again we see some good momentum in mid cap small cap, then there we might you can go for some stock additions if the stock is really good. Otherwise wait for the follow through day for the best time. Now if we consider let's few stock queries: Tata Motors, AB Capital, Nuvama. Okay. Tata Motors, tomorrow the result is will be out. So let's wait for result to make some further comments. But technically it is very weak. I think even if we get a good result, we will wait for it to reclaim this 975 level, which is the 200 DMA. आइडियली 1000 के ऊपर, एक जब तक 1000 के ऊपर नहीं जाता, यहाँ पे एक एंट्री नहीं लेनी चाहिए. यस, फॉर स्विंग ट्रेडिंग पर्पस you can consider if there is a good result, but broadly for investment purpose you should wait for some technical improvement. रिलेटिव स्ट्रेंथ बहुत वीकर है 20 का. ठीक है, ऑलरेडी 30% का करेक्शन हो चुका है. सो वेन एवर इट विल ट्राई टू मूव हायर, ठीक है, एक ऊपर से वो भी प्रेशर बनेगा कि नो इट्स ऑलरेडी डाउन 30%. सो अगर 5-10% रिकवरी भी आया स्टॉक में, तो जो लोग ऑलरेडी फंसे हुए हैं वहां से थोड़ा सेलिंग आएगा और एक प्रेशर बनता दिखेगा. बट लेट्स सी हाउ द रिजल्ट गोज टुमारो. द लास्ट फ्यू रिजल्ट्स हैव बीन रियली गुड, द फंड होल्डिंग हैज बीन एक्सेलेंट, बट द करंट टेक्निकल्स आर वीक. If you are already holding the stock, then I think you can keep maybe, yeah, the 788 is a stop loss after the result tomorrow. And if you want a fresh entry, then as I told you, you need to wait in the stock. Okay, let's go with AB Capital. And then last I will take Nuama. Over here also, technicals are weak. Let it reclaim the 200 DMA and the 50 DMA. And if you are going for some, ट्रेडिंग पर्पस, देन एटलीस्ट 21 डीएमए रिक्लेम करना इंपॉर्टेंट है. क्योंकि लास्ट टाइम भी देखो, यहाँ भी ये अक्टूबर में भी 21 डीएमए के ऊपर नहीं जा पाया था. इवन रिसेंटली लास्ट वीक व्हेन इट ट्राइड टू रिक्लेम 21 डीएमए, इट फेल्ड. सो लेट इट रिक्लेम 21 डीएमए फॉर ट्रेडिंग पर्पस. एंड फॉर इन्वेस्टमेंट पर्पस 50 डीएमए के ऊपर एक बार जाता है, दैट इज द फर्स्ट एंट्री पॉइंट, एंड देन द री ब्रेकआउट इज सेकेंड. बट आइडियली इट्स अ फिफ्थ स्टेज बेस. तो अभी जो नया बेस देखो, ये 200 लास्ट बेस का लो था, वो हमने ऑलरेडी ब्रीच कर दिया है यहाँ पे. सो अब जो भी बेस बनेगा दैट विल बी न्यू. अभी स्टेज 1 बेस बनेगा. एंड आई थिंक द ब्रेकआउट फ्रॉम स्टेज 1 बेस इज रियली गुड. द फंड होल्डिंग्स हैव इंक्रीज्ड, recent quarter results have been good, the EPS strength is solid. Let the technical and the market situation improve. हाँ, ऑन द फ्लिप साइड, अगर किसी ने होल्ड किया है तो जो रिसेंट लो है उसको स्टॉप लॉस लगा सकते हैं. This has been an outperformer. I think all the wealth management related stocks, okay, the financial related stock to the market के जो भी related है, अभी आप exchanges related ले लो, wealth management, mutual fund, okay, the depository, CDSL, सब ने outperform किया है अभी के market में. They have not been impacted much by even the market correction, and Nuvama is one such stock. आफ्टर ब्रेकआउट फ्रॉम स्टेज 1 बेस, देयर वाज सम कंटिन्यूस रैली इन द स्टॉक. साइडवे मूवमेंट था, एक बार अक्टूबर में 50 डीएम में ब्रीच कर लिया, बट वहां से एक सपोर्ट मिला एंड इट अगेन रैलीड. एंड करंटली इट इज ट्रेडिंग नियर इट्स ऑल टाइम हाई. कल ही नया हाई बनाया था. फ्रेश एंट्री इज नॉट सजेस्टेड इफ यू आर होल्डिंग द स्टॉक. 50 डीएमए का स्टॉप लॉस लगा के कंटिन्यू टू होल्ड. फ्रेश एंट्री अभी नहीं लेने का, या तो ऐसे 50 डीएमए पे बाउंस बैक आने पे लेने का, या फिर एक फ्रेश बेस बनने के बाद. Overall story is good over here, and it might continue to do well as a business.
Thanks, Rushit. I'll take some calls.
Yeah.
Uh, Give me Atul Limited, then Sharda Cropchem. Thank you. So the last couple of quarter results have been good, and there is, I mean, from previous low of the basis, there has been good movement, but still, I mean, the trend has kind of been sideways at this moment. And overall, EPS trend not that good. Price trend still, I mean, dangling in the mid 50s, which is not a good sign. Fund holding improving, but someone who probably bought at the breakout, if not got shaken out, can still hold at this moment because the last 3-4 days movement has been good for the stock. There has been some kind of accumulation, but going forward, if last time the stock found support, I mean, end of day support near the 100 DMA. It closed above the 100 DMA. So if the 100 DMA gets breached out this time on good volume, should definitely move out. I mean, fresh entry into the stock is not advised, since I mean not probably fulfilling or only characteristics at this moment, but still someone is holding can still hold because of the good technical or the good price volume movement in the last few days. Next we can look at it is Sharda Cropchem. Thank you. So the stock has hit power to pivot, and last couple of quarter results have been very good. RS line hitting new lines each and every day, which is very, very good. Someone who bought it at the breakout is sitting at good gains in the last 7 days and can continue to hold because of the power to pivot sign. Can hold it for the next 4 to 8 weeks because it looks good at this moment. But yes, definitely, if there is a fall, there is good extension from the key moving averages as well. But going forward, since looking at the price volume action in the last few days and even analyzing the base, analyzing the previous base as well, if you look at this base on base formation and whenever the stock has fallen down, volumes had actually dried up. Maybe the smart money was waiting for good results to come in. I mean, that is what has led to the buying in the stock in the last few days or the last few weeks as well. And just there is this good turnaround that is happening in terms of numbers for the stock, and that is what is getting reflected in the fund holding as well. uh, More funds are coming into the stock with anticipation of good results and good management outlook going forward. So can definitely hold it up. New entry or fresh entry into the stock is definitely not advised because of extension from the pivot. Maybe if the stock rests going forward, consolidates going forward, and makes another base, maybe at that moment can have a look at this stock. Next, we can look at it is um, Campus, then Bata India. So the EPS for the stock is due in 4 days. So I mean, even if the stock was in idle buy zone, definitely cannot buy because of the volatility any the results can create. So let's wait out. I mean, in the last four quarter results have been very volatile. And even this quarter results, maybe, I mean, the festive season has been good. I mean, the festive season results would get reflected in the next quarter result, but even the pre-festive season was not that at par if you compare it with last year. And there can be some kind of sluggish moment or some kind of sluggishness with the stock in terms of numbers. And let's wait if that is the case and what is the outlook about the management is trying to provide. The last today's movement is good. The stock reclaimed its 50 DMA and it's trading above on good volume. So this was a good sign. But I mean, let's still wait. It's good to wait for the result. So fresh entry is not advised because of two accounts in terms of result due in the next 4 days, and also the stock is below 2% below pivot at this moment. So maybe if the stock is good, there is good upward movement and the stock reclaims 320.40 levels, maybe definite. I mean, can have a look at the stock if the outlook is very good and someone is holding the stock. I mean, can definitely hold at this moment. Maybe if depending upon your risk appetite, I mean, what is favorable for you. But even if you look at the last decline that happened, the stock found support at the 200 DMA. So 200 DMA, I mean, overall is a very important, overall very important level for this stock. The next we can look at it is Bata. Similar, same industry stock, and but as you can see, the stock is forming a very wide and very loose base at this moment.
The base is just getting formed more than a year, so which is definitely not a good sign. Results have been very volatile and not been up to the mark for the last 5 6 quarters, and that is, I mean, price trend at 21 is very poor. Buyer demand at C plus not that great. So definitely an avoid. Someone if holding the stock from a previous level can keep the low of the base of 1269. If that gets breached, can definitely exit out. New entry into the stock is definitely not advised at this moment. Next we can look at it is Netweb Technologies. And the stock is still forming a stage 3B base. So based on base pattern at this moment, the stock is 3% below pivot. The first breakout was not that successful, but this one is looking slightly better because good accumulation has happened over the last couple of days. And as you can see, RS line hitting new highs. EPS, I mean, overall in terms of O'Neill parameters, checking all the boxes. EPS strength at 99, price strength at 91, buyer demand at A minus, fund holding still increasing in double digits, which is a good sign. ROE at 18%. Last 4 5 quarters results are very good. So maybe, I mean, the re-breakout, if it happens on above average volumes, definitely can be a good stock to watch out for, and can definitely keep this stock in your buy watch list.
Okay, next I'll take so one is NCC. So it reported the numbers just around 3:15 p.m. or so today. And I was looking at the first glance, you can see the number is really good. Margin has expanded, profit has doubled. I think almost from 70 80 crore, it is now 160 70 crore, which range में profit था. And margin भी 2 to 2.5% expand हुआ है. Revenue growth भी मिला है. So overall, the results have been really good. And I think it just closed on a higher volume above the 50 DMA. So that's excellent. The only thing is it is making a stage 4 consolidation base. So a bit higher stage base generally. And also when the market is a bit choppy, you should be very careful when the base stage count is higher. क्योंकि ये जो extended stock होते हैं higher stage वाले, वहाँ पे correction देखने को पहले मिल जाता है. But the results have been good. If someone is holding the stock, you can continue to hold it with 200 DM as a stop loss. एग्रेसिव ट्रेडर है, ट्रेडिंग के लिए फ्रेश एंट्री लेना चाहते हैं, तुम्हारे मेथड में अगर सेट बैठता है तो रिजल्ट्स अच्छा है, वहां पे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इवन द लास्ट फ्यू क्वार्टर्स इट हैड गिव सम गुड नंबर्स. फन होल्डिंग इज इंक्रीजिंग and the technical strengths are also decent, so that's not a worry. The only concern is the higher stage base. Otherwise ओवरऑल इसका जो आउटलुक है ये भी काफी पॉजिटिव है. ऑर्डर बुक इज स्ट्रांग. प्लस जिस तरह से साउथ में इंफ्रा का ग्रोथ हो रहा है, स्पेशली if you focus on the Andhra Pradesh and the nearby regions, so NCC can have a lot of benefits over there. Next, let's look at Biocon. Yeah, even when the pharma sector is doing well, the stock is not performing good. It is, the you can see results भी इतने अच्छे नहीं है इसके. फंड होल्डिंग्स में थोड़ा इंप्रूवमेंट देखने को मिला है. बाकी टेक्निकल फंडामेंटल रेटिंग्स आर पुअर. 200 डीएमए के नीचे भी ट्रेड हो गया था अभी लास्ट वीक. बट नाउ इट हैज ट्राइड टू रिक्लेम दोस लेवल, बट वॉल्यूम्स आर नॉट कमिंग दैट हाई. जब भी ऊपर जा रहा है तभी. बट इफ यू सी द ऑन द फ्राइडे October 25 एंड थर्सडे October 31, दोनों दिन ये नीचे जाके ऑफ लोज क्लोज हुआ है, ऑलमोस्ट इन द अपर हाफ ऑफ द डेज रेंज. So that is something positive to look. So if you are holding, then the recent low should be your strict stop loss. Fresh entry should not be done before it reclaims the 50 DMA. But yes, the 21 DMA is very close, and the traders can just watch out for the 21 DMA. बाकी स्टोरी अभी इनका जो बिजनेस है वो अच्छा है, बट दे आर नॉट एबल टू परफॉर्म इट इन द रिजल्ट्स. रिजल्ट्स में कुछ इतनी कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं होती है इनके, एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट गेट्स हैमर्ड वेरी इजीली एवरी टाइम. द अदर क्वेश्चन इज RVNL. The railway stocks had been the darling of D Street last year, and there is some correction, almost 25-30% from the high. The stock has corrected. Okay. And it is trading below the 50 DMA. So let it reclaim the 50 DMA. I think if you look, the last was the stage 7. Okay, so this was a really high base. And अभी ये करेक्शन के बाद भी स्टेज रीसेट नहीं होने वाला है. So let's not chase the high stage basis. But the only good part over here, if you are holding the stock, is जिस तरह से ये ऊपर गया था हायर वॉल्यूम पे, ठीक है, तो अभी जो नीचे का मोमेंटम पूरा बना है 30% का, तभी वॉल्यूम एकदम ड्राई अप है. सो दिस इज समथिंग वेरी पॉजिटिव. सो इफ यू आर होल्डिंग द स्टॉक, यू कैन कंटिन्यू टू होल्ड इट, keeping 200 DMA as a stop loss. Okay, if you want a fresh entry, wait for it to reclaim 50 DMA. Only problem over here is recent results have been not great. And if the stock is so much extended, और अगर एक और खराब रिजल्ट आ जाता है, तो यहाँ पे इसका पिटाई होता है. But if it delivers from here, then I think the way the volume action is, it will definitely take the stock higher. So 50 DMA का रिक्लेम करने के बाद ही लेने का, और नीचे 200 DMA का स्टॉप लॉस रखने का, जो होल्ड कर रहा है उनके लिए. लेट्स टेक कैनरा बैंक. नॉट डूइंग वेल. Okay, the results were not the best, but I think there are some queries related to federal bank. So, though it was a stage 4 base, but as Vakha discussed, the result was good and it is trading near the buy zone. But this stock is trading 19% of its high, sorry, 19% below its pivot, and almost 18 to 20% of its high. So, let it give some time to improve technically. Fundamental decent है, बट टेक्निकली इम्प्रूव होना बाकी है. आई थिंक नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर का रिजल्ट में अगर इम्प्रूवमेंट होता है, देन वी कैन वॉच आउट फॉर दिस वन. अदरवाइज, इफ यू आर होल्डिंग द स्टॉक, देन मे बी द रिसेंट, यहाँ पे एक 100 रुपीज का स्टॉप लॉस लग सकता है. यहाँ पे 21 DMA इज क्लोज टू दैट 102. सो मे बी 100 and 102 का स्टॉप लॉस. एंड ऑन द फ्लिप साइड, if this 113-114 has been a resistance over here, so once it reclaim that level, the aggressive investors can start accumulating it. It's a stage 2 consolidation base. थोड़ा मुझे लूज और वाइड दिख रहा है अभी के लिए, but let's see how it completes the base. So the last query for the day maybe now. Previous specialty. Okay, so this stock was part of our Diwali picks. So we came out with a report on Diwali, the somewhat 2081 top picks, and Privi was one of our pick over there. And we, I think, gave it in the last week of the October. So since then, there has been an excellent momentum. And our ideal buy zone suggested was from 1720. And from there, the stock is already up 14%. So Diwali से अगर देखें, तो हमारे जो सजेस्टेड बाय प्राइस से ऑलमोस्ट 14-15% के गेन पे है स्टॉक. द स्टोरी हैज बीन एक्सेलेंट. ओके, दे आर गुड इनटू द केमिकल बिजनेस. फ्रेग्रेंसेस जो होते हैं, इसमें भी इसका प्रेजेंस काफी है. इसका एस एच केलकर का, तो ये सब अच्छा कर रहे हैं परफॉर्मेंस. ओके, एंड इफ यू लुक एट द अर्निंग्स, लास्ट फ्यू क्वार्टर्स हैव बीन गुड. ROE is of 10%, but looks like it might improve from here. The number of fund holding the stock has increased. So overall, fundamentally, technically and story wise, the stock is good. But the only thing is अभी थोड़ा extended हो गया है. तो जो होल्ड कर रहे हैं वो बिंदास होल्ड कर सकते हैं. बट अगर फ्रेश एंट्री चाहिए, देन दिस इज नॉट आइडियल टाइम टू गो फॉर फ्रेश एंट्री. लेट इट पुल बैक, या तो थोड़ा पुल बैक आता है 21 के नजदीक, तब रिबाउंड पे लेने का, री ब्रेकआउट पे. या फिर वेट फॉर द फ्रेश बेस. अभी जो ये बेस था वो स्टेज 2 था, तो एक बार स्टेज 2B या फिर स्टेज 3 बेस जब भी बनता है नया, वहां से ब्रेकआउट होने के बाद लेने का. One YouTube query as well, ion exchange. Okay, the results are due in 5 days. Okay, and the stock is making a stage 1 consolidation base. So I think if the result turns out well, and we see a breakout over here, then this is a really good story. The EPS is solid. Okay, the fund holding has increased, and the business of the water management or the water related infra, the pollution control is really good. And I think these are the futuristic business. I think over the next few years, the lot of value will be unlocked in these kind of businesses. So there is long-term tailwind, but in short term, you should focus on the technicals. If you are holding the stock, then watch out for the 21 and 50 DMA. अगर उसके नीचे जाता है, then you might consider to exit. On the flip side, fresh entry 768 के ऊपर लेने का, 769 के अराउंड. अगर रिजल्ट्स अच्छा आता है 5 दिन बाद, तो उसके पहले अगर भाग जाए तो we can't do anything because we don't want to hug the volatility of the result season. So I think that's it for today's session. We are already running out of time. We see there are multiple queries, but I think broadly we have discussed most of the sectors, most of the relative uh, stocks as well, right? So even if there are few queries which are pending, then you can always write to us. And I hope this session was really useful to you guys. And so see, our marketing team has wrote the email address, so you can post the query over here, and we will try to answer as soon as possible. So thank you for joining the session. Hope it was useful to all of you. Thank you, Vakar, and thank you everyone in the panel as well. Thank you, Samvit, Nabil, Pran, Shyam, everyone. Have a good day.